What's happening, people? Welcome to another episode of Natty News Daily. We've got the man, Gary Amlinger, on again. We're going to chat about prep. He's getting closer and closer to WNBF Worlds. Face looks a little smaller since when we saw him last. Getting that jaw line's coming in pretty good. So how are you, my friend? How are you doing?
Been doing amazing. I've been off the grid in terms of social media, but to be honest, this has been the most enjoyable prep I've ever had. Smoothest by far. Very, very, very relaxed. We're in a position now, Cliff Wilson and I, to where we're just pretty far ahead of the game, and we're losing at a super slow pace. We got about 7 weeks till Worlds and 5 weeks till the WNBF Monster Mash. Right now I'm about 200 pounds flat, and I stepped on stage at my pro debut 2018, which is about 4.5 years ago, about 192. I'm considerably bigger now. I want to say in terms of leanness, I'm pretty close to where I was on stage at this point in 2018.
Which was lean. Like, there was no doubting that last time. It wasn't like, oh, he won in spite of conditioning. It was there.
Yeah, the judges told me your conditioning was there. For sure. To be specific, I needed to bring up my upper body, and my back was the main thing to match my legs.
Yep.
So we feel like we definitely did a good job of that the past 4.5 years. And it's going to be interesting to see what my physique looks like at about 192, 193. We're thinking I'll be on stage. So roughly the same stage weight as 2018, with the added, lean body mass. And so looking forward to getting up there and representing the U.S.
Yeah, that's it's insane when you think of like for example, we were at the show this past weekend, and Berto won that show at, I think he said he was mid 160s. He told me.
Mm-hmm. He looked amazing.
He looked unreal, and like he's big, right, for a natural bodybuilder. Like he's a big, solid athlete, and he was shredded. And you're basically talking about 25 pounds heavier, which is just nuts, right? Like in the natural stream, like most divisions are filled up with lightweights or middleweights. You get some good heavyweights, but most heavyweights still have some weight to lose and could potentially be middles. So for you being in his stage condition at 192 pounds is nutty.
Yeah, that'd be fun to see in person.
How tall are you again?
I'm 5'9".
Yeah, like that's big.
That's bonkers.
Same height as me and 30 pounds heavier, plus way better.
Just Thank you.
Plus way better.
Just a better bodybuilder.
That's a shirt right there.
We still got to get the neck training shirt. I'm waiting for the neck training. I want it.
Yes.
Oh, speaking of, I started this week some neck training.
Yes, it's coming. I got this. Yes, I love it.
So I've been doing like direct trap work like this whole previous off season. It definitely worked. And then I was like, you know what? I kind of was formulating a new plan this week, and I was like, I'm gonna throw in some neck work. So I did just body weight, 2 sets of 15 forward, 2 sets of 15 backwards, and side to side, 2 sets of 15. And then I did 2 sets of shrugs, like sets of 30, and just ripped the shit out of them. Man, my head feels like 1,000 pounds. Like, so when you do, let's actually dive into that a little bit because I'm interested now. So when you do your neck training, like, are you loading now? Like, you've been doing this a long time. So like, what do you do?
Yeah, so it's basically very similar to what you do. It's going to be neck flexion, neck extension, neck lateral flexion.
Yeah. So
I'll do 3 exercises. And right now I'm doing about 4 sets per exercise twice per week during my main training. Yep. And then when I'm deloading, I cut volume by 50%. So I'm doing 2 sets per exercise. One thing I should say though, my coach doesn't prescribe neck training anymore. He doesn't feel like it's necessary.
Yeah.
Kind of agree with him.
Probably would
I
laugh
like
at
doing
us
it.
talking about this right now.
Yeah, he's gonna laugh. So he doesn't prescribe it anymore. I'm pretty much doing that myself, but I'll be looking for someone to prescribe the programming for that after Worlds. Right now, I'm good with this volume threshold with neck. It's going to maintain the musculature I built over the past 4.5 years. Especially when I'm carb loaded, I should fill out nice with the traps and the neck and everything. So when I'm hitting most musculars, I feel like it will make a difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're starting out with body weight, only your head weight.
Yeah.
I've actually told people that they're like, really, I shouldn't use any weight. I'm like, no, like you can get hurt. Like nice and easy, high reps. Use your, you don't need any weight. And once you feel like you're engaging the musculature correctly, then add 5 pounds, add 10 pounds.
What do you do?
But for me right now, neck flexion, I'm doing like 40 pounds for 20. Lateral flexion is similar, and neck extension, I'm doing like 50 pounds for 20. So it's roughly around the same.
This sounds terrifying.
Yeah. I'm the guy in the gym with the neck harness, so it's cool. Everyone knows me now. It's fine.
Yeah.
Is that your nickname? You have a nickname?
What?
The neck guy, or
you guys could crown me with that too. I have Gary
Yeah.
Glutes. If you want to go with the neck thing, that's cool.
Yeah.
It
definitely like adds to a physique. I'm pretty sure there's like this photo that floated around one time. I think it was Channing Tatum when he like got into acting, and then I don't know if it was legit or if it was just Photoshop, but it basically was like, look at him here with a skinny neck, and then look at him here with like a relatively jacked neck, and it looked like way more impressive. He looked like he gained 50 pounds of muscle just because his neck was bigger.
Yes, I believe Jeff Nippard posted that.
Yeah,
So
okay, maybe that's where I saw it.
about.
Yeah, maybe that's where I saw it.
Yes, because he made a neck training video, Jeff.
Yeah.
So I don't understand it. Like, I feel like if anyone had the choice, they'd be like, yeah, I'd like a thicker neck with big traps. As a guy, as a competitive bodybuilder, why not? I don't think it's affecting my other training at all. Actually, I do it on my rest periods a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing like heavy compound movements and I'm resting anyway, I just throw in my neck training there. I don't really lose anything.
You do direct forearm work?
I do. I don't do it as much. I'll do a lot of hammer curls, dumbbell hammers, and reverse curls. So reverse barbell curls.
Mm-hmm.
But I do add the wrist curls and the reverse wrist curls as well. Just not that often. Maybe a couple times a year, a couple mesocycles.
Yeah. I mean, really, when you think about it, like, people will like say what's important and what's not. And is it definitely like your neck, right? Is that up to par with like your lats or your quads? Well, obviously not. But to deny that if it was better would not look better. Well, yeah, if I had bigger forearms, my front double, like I posed with Leo, the president of WNBF Canada, and when we were posing, his forearm, like when he did a front double, like there was just a chunk of meat right there, and I was like, that looks sick, right? So it's like, why not grow your forearms then, right? It's like we try so hard to gain our calves, why not forearms and neck, right?
100%. I think it's going to be a trend eventually, especially when it becomes more prevalent. People are seeing other people train neck, and that's how things just take off, like anything in life, like just seeing it more and more. And I know, competitive bodybuilders and people who just want to add size, they're going to want a little thicker neck. You don't have to prioritize it every training block, but why not throw it in a few times a year just to get a little thickness there on a most muscular? I think it looks excellent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like you said, I can guarantee it's not taking away from your recoverability. I mean, I did that technique for my calves. My calves are the biggest they've ever been. Like every time I finish a leg press set, I just hit my calves right then and there. Like I'm still recovering. It's not fatiguing me from a leg press to go into a calf raise. I'll be okay.
Exactly. I think the more we kind of like err on that side, like you could, train intense. You could add a couple sets here of isolations. You're not going to over fatigue yourself. You're not going to take away from something else. And I feel like a lot of people are so concerned about like fatigue accumulation. Yeah, but you still need to put in the volume. Like you still need to push. That's what deloads are for. So it's a balance. The little muscles, I'm not worried about fatiguing myself at all.
You seem to have a very, I'm just going to use the term old school kind of mindset towards this, where it's like you're not overthinking fatigue and rest and recovery. Like are you more old school when it comes to your thought processes towards like bodybuilding in general?
I'd say I'm both.
Like halfway?
Yeah, I go back and forth. So in terms of like form and technique, I've moved away from trying to be perfect in the gym, to use more load and get more reps. And I feel like volume is still king. So if I could add more reps or weight and use a little momentum or break form down a little, especially if I can't get hurt on the movement, really, I'll do that. And I'm fine with it. I'm fine with my form not looking perfect anymore. 4.5 years ago, I was like, no, everything has to be perfect. No momentum on a front squat. If my torso is leaning even a little too far forward, that's no good. I got to stop the set. Like I was really like super OCD about this. I'm moving away from it. I joke like I'm kind of in the middle of Alberto Nunez, who has like the best form on the planet, and Doug Miller. I'm kind of in the middle now. I used to be more like Alberto Nunez, if not exactly like him, because his form is textbook perfect. And Doug uses some momentum and he breaks form down sometimes. So I'm kind of in the middle there. And I guess we'll see, like when I step on stage, if I really did grow as much as I felt I could with this method, because that's ultimately all that matters. Did I grow or not? Did I grow more than having perfect technique or not? And I feel like the past 4.5 years, I've grown way more than I ever have, like at an alarming rate. So, but we'll see as I take these next 8 pounds off, if it's true. So it's like I'm my own lab experiment,
Did Cliff oversee your training at all?
Cliff doesn't. It's mainly Jason Tremblay with the strength guys. Yeah.
Okay.
So he takes care of that.
Right on. Cool.
Yeah.
So good.
I was just going to say, referencing some of the blog posts you've been making on the website, also just dropping that if you aren't aware, Gary has been updating the Natty News Daily website with some running blog posts about his prep. It looks like really not too much has changed, at least with this last check-in, right? Like macros the same, mostly training the same, all of that pretty standard. And you're still able to drop, I think you said what, like 0.6 pounds, being relatively close to stage weight. So what do you think is different this time around that has given you so much more like flexibility, if you will, or just like ease for this prep? Like, how are you in such a good position with 6 weeks left?
I would say in general, so leading up to my 2018 prep, I mentioned this before, I had really bad sleep issues. I was only getting like 3-4 hours a night and it was restless. And I had that pretty much like my whole life. Like I never slept good. And a lot of that had to do with major stresses in my life, especially in my mid-20s. I took care of that and I sleep pretty much exceptionally, especially these past 4.5 years. So me with sleep, I'm just like a different human being. I'm just way more relaxed. I'm recovered. So things just seem so much easier now. I would say that's the main thing is sleep. Sleep is, if I could pinpoint one thing that's so important for recovery above everything else, is sleep. So I would say I'm sleeping better. My macros are more on point, especially this past off season versus the off season before my last competition prep. I stayed way leaner this off season, so I didn't have to lose as much. I think I peaked at like 227 maybe this off season, and I don't even want to tell you how heavy I got before 2018 season.
I remember our chat.
Too heavy, way too heavy. We're talking 250, 260, like ridiculous. So it's everything's just tighter. And we
so did you before we go too much further, when you got to like 227, did you just kind of hold that for much of the off season and just eat and train?
I held the high 220s for a bit, but then I came back down. So like so I would say I was like in a surplus for maybe like 6 to 12 months at a clip, and depending. But my peak was in the high 220s. I didn't want to stay there too long. When I felt like I was starting to get too heavy or I wasn't gaining weight anymore, that's when I'm like, well, I should come back down, mini cut, so I could actually gain weight again. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty much how I took it. But once I get near 230, my body's just like, no, like it's too heavy. My leverages start to go bad, and I don't feel as good. I was always a very lean kid, and like right now, I actually feel phenomenal. I'm gonna be probably 190s this coming week, and very lean, and I feel great. Like I feel like an athlete, and this is kind of where I'm good. 200s, and we'll see 190s. Maybe when I get near stage weight, I'll be like, I feel great. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
That's perfect. Are you feeling any negative aspects of prep right now?
Hunger is surprisingly very low. I do eat a lot of fiber. My fiber is like probably like 50 to 60 per day. I'm eating a ton of broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, green beans to keep me satiated. You know, that pre-workout shake with the fruit and the oats and everything is still in. A lot of chicken. I'll probably start adding steak as well to help with hunger if I feel like it's getting out of hand. Yeah, no, I feel good. I'm PRing in the gym still.
Yep.
Yeah, nah, I don't really feel much.
That's awesome.
If my sleep's on point, I'm good.
Yeah, for sure.
Fix
So
the algorithm.
For sure.
So I know how Cliff operates. So do you have a meal plan for yourself, or are you, if it fits your macros, tracking day to day? How do you structure things? Because how I would do it so he'd send me my macros, I'd make a meal plan. I just prefer it that way. I don't have to think about it. Update would come in, he'd send me macros, I'd change my meal plan, onward we go. So do you do that, or are you a little more flexible with things based on what you're feeling, or are you just like robot?
So when you say meal plan, are you just plugging in your meals on MyFitnessPal and eating that every day pretty much?
Yeah. So when Cliff would send me, okay, here's your macros, this is what I want you to do, protein, carb, fat, I would then, I would dick around on MyFitnessPal for 20, 30 minutes, make a plan. And I'm like, okay, that hits those macros. These are the foods I'm going to eat. And then I would run with that every single day. Do you do that, or are you more flexible?
So I would say I'm pretty much doing that by default because I'm enjoying the meals that I'm eating.
Yep.
So if he lowers calories, I'll just lower the calories of the foods that I'm already eating.
Okay. Yeah. So you're doing the exact same thing.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do I have to do that? No. I would say as I get closer to competition, it just becomes easier. Like,
I agree.
I know what I'm eating. I don't have to fumble with the macros really.
Yeah.
I have the foods in my house. I know exactly what I have to get at the grocery store. Also, I believe that if you kind of get too fancy with foods where you're trying to fit in like junk and everything else, I feel like that'll spark hunger a lot of the time.
Yep.
So I try to stick with like just bare bones, raw, chicken, vegetables, oats, like just very basic stuff. I don't go crazy with like Halo Top. I used to eat a lot last prep. Diet soda, I was drinking way too much of that. So that's pretty much gone. I'll enjoy small amounts of it, but it doesn't really help with much for me. It might help with other people, but for me, it doesn't really work too well.
Yeah. I found that same thing. Like I don't really care to experiment with things on prep. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm the same as you. Like single food ingredients, ketchup is my excitement, some spices and stuff like that. But yeah, when it comes to like the low calorie or the Walden Farms and stuff like that, it's a slippery slope, I find, with people, because you get that taste of something, if it's like a chocolate or like a strawberry sauce or 0-calorie jellos and stuff. I think you're just asking for it. And for me, like, I find it just wrecks my guts, like all the artificial sweeteners and stuff like that. I feel like shit.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Like I said, I have a small amount of it, but it's very controlled. I don't go crazy. Everything's pretty simple.
Yep.
Also, another thing to note that Cliff and I went over is post-competition 2018. There was definitely like, I ate a lot of food and my hunger was like because basically I was introducing foods I wasn't normally eating during my prep after, like going out to eat and trying different foods, and that ruined my hunger even worse, because we know hunger is crazy after competing. A lot of people don't know, but it's probably worse after competing than during prep.
I think a lot of it's psychological. You're just not
Yes.
like locked in on a show like that's lifted, and it's just like your hunger goes from like, even though you're eating like twice as much, your hunger goes from like a, I don't know, a 5 out of 10 to like a 10 out of 10, and it's like, what the hell? I'm eating
Yeah.
more. This is not right.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's the physiological and psychological, the combination. Your hunger just will explode, especially if you just start introducing like really tasty foods. I mean, it just wasn't good for me. So what we're gonna do this time is I'll compete at Worlds November 19th, and then I'm actually gonna extend prep 6 weeks. So I'm gonna eat the same thing, just more of it, because we're gonna introduce calories to get my body fat levels up to help with my hormone replacement, testosterone, and everything. So 6 weeks after Worlds, I'm basically going to be in prep still, just to control that binge, wanting to binge, and then those hunger levels that are elevated. So that's going to be a new thing we do.
So do you intend to have any post-show meal or anything like that, or no, just straight to the?
I'm going to try this out. Yeah, I'll go out to dinner with my family and friends, but he's going to give me macros, and I'm going to go to the supermarket and grab whatever I have to. And I will bring the food to the restaurant. I've done that before plenty of times. So we're going to give that a shot just to see how I feel, because I want the rebound period to be way better this time around. You know, I'm a professional now and I need to treat that as such. So,
Yep.
That's savage.
Yeah. I mean, if you can do that, man, kudos to you. Cause I remember I called Cliff after we got on video, Brett recorded it. And I was like, if you send me macros, I will just reply LOL. and Cliff was like, nah, man, go enjoy yourself. You've earned it. But like,
I watched you eat like 4 of those cookies in like 4 seconds.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely something to be said about like keeping that control afterwards for sure. And it's that walking that fine line of like, okay, because I've been that guy that in 3 days gained like 30 pounds. Right. This time around, I kept it a lot more under control, not nearly what Gary is talking about, but I didn't gain 30 pounds in 3 days. But like, I just wanted to feel better again, right? Which needed to get some weight back on me pretty quick. So it'd be interesting to see how because I assume he'll probably throw some good calories at you pretty quick. So if you do that with structure, it'll be interesting to see what that looks like.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to give it a shot and see how it works. And I can wait 6 weeks? 6 weeks goes by so quick, and then I'll start, I'll go out to dinner with my family, be like, listen, I could eat, something out now, and I have no problem waiting. My family and friends, they understand anyway. So, and your rebound period seemed amazing, by the way. Like, how controlled was your rebound from last prep? Looked good.
This, James and Dan and I have talked about this, where it's like there's habits, right, that we all as bodybuilders will always have, whether we're aware of it or not, right? With like every meal, there's going to be protein with it in some form. I'm going to eat on a low amount is probably still 4 or 5 times a day, which means I'm getting 4 or 5 protein feedings through the day. So I was good, like a lot better than I've been for probably the 3 or 4 days post show. I was like, oh, like, wow, I got this. And then like by the end of that first week, that food focus started to creep up a bit, and that like looser controlled eating started to creep in. But my body seems to get, and Cliff's commented on this, that my body's very adaptive, and it seems to like once it's ready to go to a spot, it'll go there and just be fine. So once I got back up to like 170, so that was like 12 to 15 pounds or so, I was like, I like felt almost immediately way better. Like sleep was good, like hormones, libido, like body stress, like all the prep shit that comes was like almost completely gone. And now I'm like holding early 180s extremely comfortably, and that food focus is like completely gone now, and I'm just eating like an intelligent bodybuilder for the most part, right? But I don't know. I got back in the gym immediately. Like I didn't take any really, like I think I trained with you guys the next day, and
Mhm.
like we come
And still
home.
beat me on bench.
Yep, still beat James on
Yeah.
bench.
Both of us.
That's the other thing that I think like I guess helped me, for lack of a better term, is that like as soon as I got that food back in my system, I was like, okay, time back in the gym. Let's go. And I just like started back like benching, squatting, deadlifting, like let's get back to it, which I think helped like mitigate any like obnoxious fat gain too, because I was using that food that I was eating, right? And my typical like day to day is relatively active, so it all kind of gets washed out. I think if where someone can get in trouble is where week post show and they're like, I just don't feel like training. They're just eating like an asshole. And then all of a sudden it's just like 30 pounds of just fat and blob and potentially some muscle loss because you've not trained for a week, and then you just get in a shit spot.
And injury risk goes up too if you gain weight too quick. Your
Oh
body
yeah,
just
like
feels horrible.
oh for sure, like the inflammation and all that stuff,
Ugh.
right, would just be through the roof. Like you just slammed like hundreds of grams of sugar and carbs and fat in your body, eating like an idiot, drinking soda, and a lot. I don't drink, but I would assume a lot of people after a show maybe go celebrate. Maybe that's alcohol and stuff. Like you start throwing alcohol in the mix, and your body's primed to just go to catastrophe.
Right. How long did it take you to gain those 10 to 12 pounds to where you felt better?
So I competed. I weighed in show day morning on the Saturday. I was 158. I weighed myself. I remember weighing myself, I think the Tuesday or Wednesday, and I was like kind of mid 160s. And that's when I was like, oh, damn, I did a good job. I've only gained like 4 or 5 pounds. I'm killing this. But then by the following weekend, after I had those few days, like I was knocking on 170 within probably 8 or 9 days. So
Okay.
but that I needed that. Like I needed it physically, I needed it psychologically. I just needed to get back to feeling good because I was trashed, man. Like I was rote at that last show. Like I had potentially another show the following weekend, and I was like, I don't even know if I can do this. Like I was pretty roasted. So, but once I got to feeling, like I said, like that 170, and I held it really good, like I was like, man, if I could just hold this 170 even, like I feel like I was full again. I still had like abs. It was almost like I gained 10 pounds, but didn't look like I gained, I looked like I gained 3, but I gained 10 or 12.
Yeah, because I saw you. I'm like, damn, he's looking good. Like it looks like everything's really moving forward well.
Yeah. But then like once that, then it settled, right? Like once I got over that, like I had that like, damn, I feel good. And then I was like, ooh, post prep, food. Then that dissipates, right? Like anybody that's like listening to this that is like, man, I can't stop eating. Like I assure you, it does go away. It just takes time. Like your body will come back to normal, which is where I am. And I was within probably 6 to 7 weeks post show. I would say I was like, okay, I'm good again. There was like that 3 weeks where it was like shit, post show problems, but it goes. And then it subsided. And then like, I was staying with like habits and stuff. Bodybuilding lifestyle then starts to come back into the fold, and you're like, oh yeah, this is what I do again. I eat this way, I train this way, I live this way.
Right.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's I don't know, the post show, right? Like I'm very interested to see how this goes for you, because I've never heard of someone like doing it, for one, but also like doing it successfully versus just being like, I got this, and then a day later they're like, yeah, no, I don't.
You know what it is? The Reese's peanut butter cups right before you get on stage.
Yep,
That's
Gatorade.
the beginning of the end. That's it. That's it. I might tell Cliff, listen, give me another candy, because that's too good. You can't do that.
I remember you eating that Reese's cup backstage before the OCB show. I think it was Brett. He just asked you, what does that taste like? How does it taste like? He's like, you're just like bluntly winning.
and
yeah,
winning.
It's the magic.
Winning.
Yeah.
That's how it
No,
tastes.
I think you're what you're doing is like attempting to combine the best of both worlds, right? Like people talk about like the reverse diet, and what the science says on that is a little bit wishy-washy, and a lot of people don't do it, but it has structure. but you're also doing it. We know like Cliff's going to throw some weight at you for, get the hormones where they need to be. So it's like the structure of a reverse diet, but the like physiological benefits of a recovery diet.
100%. 100%. So we'll see if it's the winning formula. We'll see if it works.
So 2 new tips for everybody listening, right? Neck training, that's the new thing. It's in. Everybody needs to do it. And we're going to just see this hybrid recovery approach, which Gary, we're probably going to name after you. So
yes. I like
Hybrid
that.
recovery. There we go. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, my man. We appreciate you coming on, giving a little update for the people. You mentioned at the very beginning you've been a little quieter on social media. Will that continue, or are you going to be posting some stuff?
Well, it can't get any quieter with my posting. So we're only looking up right now.
Gonna see some glute shots.
Yes. We're definitely gonna get some stuff up there. I don't know exactly what or when. I don't want to put any date on it. One thing for sure, I tell a lot of people, I'm a bodybuilder first, competitive bodybuilder second, social media bodybuilder third. Fun is the most important thing for my bodybuilding career. I have the most fun when I'm just training and eating and not recording. So it's a selfish thing in a lot of ways, but I really, really love this sport, and I don't want to take away from it at all if I can. But I understand that this is part of the game now with social media. So you guys will get some good stuff, especially as I get closer. I'm going to throw out some 1 week out posing sessions, 2 weeks out, a month. So you're going to see what I'm looking like as we get closer to Worlds for sure. And that's really the most exciting part is, seeing what's about to step on stage. So all the other stuff before that, I'll see what I can do in terms of posting, but always, I appreciate you guys promoting me in the sport, and it's not going to end anytime soon. So we got, another decade to go with this stuff, and I'm looking forward to it.
Hell yeah.
There you go, people. You heard it there. Obviously, Natty News Daily will be first to the hop. So if Gary's sharing it, we will share it. So whether you're following his page or our page, you won't miss it. We promise you that. So thank you, my man. Thank you for coming on. We wish you the best of luck these next 7 weeks. I know you're going to kill it and make the Natty News Daily fam proud.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys, for the talk. I always love talking to you guys, and we'll do this again soon.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed this episode, obviously, you know what to do. Give it a like. Follow us on Instagram at natty_news_daily. And we'll see you guys in the next one.